What's up guys, Phoenix here, and today we're going to be talking about a new Xyz monster spoiled for OCG release in their Collector's Pack Duelist of Flash version. Now I believe that comes out either May 14th or May 15th. I just know it comes out on that weekend because I know it was ARG Charlotte weekend. It comes out in Japan on that weekend, so it's one of those 2 days. But the card in question that we're going to be talking about is a new number monster, and I mean, we've kind of been lacking the rest of the 100 numbers that are supposed to exist. Konami and the anime were really key on starting that whole theme of, oh, there's 100 numbers when Zexal aired, and that was like their first little thing, and sort of, instead of making like an archetype for the main character to use, it was basically just like, we're going to make an archetype and theme for the entire show to use, and it was based around the 100 numbers, and to date, we have not seen all 100, nor do we have all 100, and that's kind of a shitty thing for a company to do, and especially in like the case of, they kind of promoted this whole theme as a collector's thing, and there are people that do want to collect one copy at least of every single number Xyz in the game. And we have not seen nor had anywhere near close to the full 100 brought out for us, and so that kind of sucks from the collector standpoint. But we're getting more numbers cards to kind of fluff out and fill out the rest of the whole theme, and the one that we're going to be talking about now is number 51, Finish Hold the Amazing. Now you'd imagine if the card is going to have the word amazing printed in the name, that it should most definitely be a really broken card. Like, you should kind of assume that, right? I mean, if the card itself is being called amazing, then it should probably be really cool. This one's kind of alright. Fun fact, I'm actually blind as a bat, and when I first read this card, I thought that it was a rank 2, and I was seconds away from calling one of my friends who loves playing agents. Like, it's his favorite, like, archetype. Like, mine is Dragonides, like, his is agents. He loves the deck, and he always like tinkers around with it when he has spare time. And I thought this was something you could summon with Venus and 3 Shine Balls. And I was like, look at this. This is really cool. But turns out it's a rank 3. And oops. But anyway, card, rank 3, Rocket Seas effect. Number 51, Finish Hold the Amazing. It takes 3 level 3 monsters to summon this thing. And its effect is kind of cool, but also really just kind of lackluster in my opinion. For a card to be called Amazing in its name, they could have definitely done better. Like, it's very much just a fluff card, I believe. But anyway, its effect is cannot be destroyed by battle, and at the end of the damage step, if this card battled, you can detach 1 Xyz material from this card. Place 1 counter on this card, maximum 3. If damage calculations performed involving this card, at the end of the battle phase, while 3 counters are on this card, you can destroy all cards your opponent controls. So this card has to battle 3 times to get its 3 counters, but then once it has 3 counters on it, it can't die in battle, and it nukes your opponent's board every time it battles at the end of the battle phase, every time it has 3 counters on it. And it's got 2600 attack, 0 defense. So it's at least got respectable stats for a rank 3. The only problem is that it takes 3 of them, and that's kind of a little bit of a nuisance, but this card would actually have been a little bit too accessible in decks like BA and stuff like that if they wanted to go for something really gimmicky like this. But honestly, I don't believe that should be the focus of what you're doing if you're playing BA in this format or not. But regardless, this card's effect is really cool in the fact that it makes you work for it, and it does just give you a generic board wipe for only your opponent's side of the board. I do think that's really cool. The problem is that this card takes 3 level 3 monsters to invest into it, and it's still very weak to things like destruction effects and stuff like that. Like, if this thing gets Dark Destroyed, you're probably just out of the game depending on what deck you are actually playing to make these, to make this with 3 level 3s. Like, there's that as, like, a potential just thing. Like, Cosmos exist, all these other things exist. By the time this card is printed for us, maybe Cosmos won't exist. I mean, being really, like, hoping that it won't be a deck because it's actually very resilient of an engine, and it would have to definitely just be killed by the time we got this card before, like, Dark Destroyer stops being a relevant part of the format. But I digress. That's a completely different topic. But the fact that this thing has to battle 3 different times to get counters on it is kind of what draws the line on why this card isn't really that great. Now, there are some gimmicky things that you could do to make this card have 3 counters, but that's just it in the word I use to describe them. Gimmicky. They are gimmicks. Like, the best thing that the easiest thing I can think of is like pairing this with a Shark Fortress, and even Shark Fortress only lets it attack twice, which would give it 2 counters, and then next turn you would also have to get the other counter on it. Now, obviously, that would shorten the clock a bit, but still, by that point, you're probably just killing them. We're playing modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Here. Another thing you can do is you can play all-out attacks, final attack orders, and stuff like that. But still, and I think Savage Coliseum, if I'm remembering that card right, like, those force your opponent to attack into this. But even then, still, like, they have an entire turn before their battle phase that they could easily use the Diamond Dyer, Castell, any of these cards. 101, Jesus. But, yeah, it can't be destroyed by battle, so I guess it has a little bit going for it in terms of that. And its stats are definitely not small for rank 3 status by any stretch. I just wish it wasn't 3 level 3s. Like, I wish it was just 2 level 3s. This card would have been completely fine being 2 level 3s as the material. And, like, you could actually access it in, like, decks like Tremid. And, like, that wouldn't be, like, extremely strenuous for your resource pool. The only other thing that's, like, really gimmicky that you could do to probably make this card better is actually just pairing it with the gimmickiest cards of them all. And that is, like, the Fang of Critias. Because you can make Tyrant Wing Dragon. I don't even remember what Tyrant Wing does. I think it does something for Blue Eyes. But Tyrant Wing Dragon lets you equip it to a card, and it gains some negligible amount of attack and defense. I think it's 400. The only reason I remember what this card does is because I have friends that play character duels, and, like, the Kaiba deck is broken. So, I think Tyrant Wing Dragon lets it gain either 300 or 400, so regardless, it'll be 2,900 or 3,000. And then it lets the card attack 3 times, so that could give the 3 counters on this card in one turn. But that requires you to be playing Tyrant Wing and the Fang of Critias. So I don't see that being a potential, like, thing that would make this card really good, you know? So honestly, it's probably just gonna be, like, thrown into the whole, like, the most prestigious place this card will probably hold is in the binder of someone who's collecting number cards, because in its purest form, the card isn't really worth anything in the competitive, like, standpoint, because it doesn't do enough. It takes too much to invest into summoning it. And the only thing that's actually, like, worthwhile about this card is the fact that it has number in its name. And that's not even worthwhile about it because, like, the number cards aren't as good as they were in the show because they don't have the extra rules that were applied to them in the show. Which, I mean, hey, sucks. But, yeah, this is one of the number cards that's being brought out in the collector pack, and I think it's incredibly underwhelming simply because of the way you have to trigger its effect requires it to have attacked and battled 3 times, which is it's a little bit too much to ask for in the modern day of Yu-Gi-Oh! Where we literally have outs to everything that can't die by battle. We have outs to things that aren't targetable. We have outs to things that are indestructible. Like, we have outs for so many things. I don't think this card is going to be able to be playable in anything. The only thing that I could think of that would make this card playable is just the fact you wouldn't even be able to try and resolve its effect. You'd actually just be using it as a 2600 that can't die by battle because it is a rock, so it does actually support the Tremid theme because, like, Giant Century of Stone doesn't get turned off by it. All these different things and factors. But anyway, let me know what you guys think about this card in the comments down below. Maybe I'm being a little bit too harsh on this card. But, yeah, like, everything that you could use to make this card resolve its actual effect in a real game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Is all really gimmicky. And that's the issue that I'm having with it. But, I mean, maybe I'm just wrong. Let me know what you guys think about this card in the comments down below, as I've already said. But other than that, that's all for this video. That's pretty much all I have to say about this card. And as always, guys, thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe to all the nonsense you usually do. Links are in the description of my Facebook links and Twitch links if you want to check those out. That's why they are there. If you want to connect with me, chat with me, whatever, definitely use those Facebook links. If you want to support me, clicking ads on my videos and disabling ad block when you view my videos is more than sufficient. I can't express how much it helps, nor how much I would be, very appreciative of you if that's something you could take the time out of your day to do to help support me and help me out in general. But other than that, like I've said for the 3rd time, let me know what you guys think about this card. I honestly want opinions from people that I feel like would think about it in a different angle than I would personally. But that's basically it. As always, guys, thanks for watching, and as always, take care.